Hello, folks. The old deplorable basket case here. So, yeah. No one is for states' rights. There's some very rare exceptions. That is the rule. Now, one glaring example that springs to my mind is the Democratic Party in the early to mid-19th century. The Democratic Party, from the very beginning, was all for states' rights. Completely. States' rights in everything except slavery. When northern states tried to keep out slavery, to limit the spread of slavery, when people in the north didn't want slavery, the Democratic Party was all for the federal government, all for federal powers. That is one glaring example. But there are so many more. Extreme example, that's the word I was looking for. That is one extreme example, but there are so many more. Okay? With some very rare exceptions. Everybody is pro-states' rights when the state government is doing something they want it to do, and everyone is anti-states' rights when the federal government is doing something they want it to do. Some very rare exceptions. Now, I am not for states' rights. I have no illusions about that. What I am for is limiting the powers of the federal government. You see, the federal government has a rather short list of things it is supposed to do. It has a fairly specific job. The federal government has a fairly short list of powers that it holds. But the federal government has kind of grown. It's a lot bigger. More personnel, more budget, more powers. To a certain extent, this is inevitable. The country is a lot bigger than it used to be. There's more people, more industry, more foreign entanglements that need to be dealt with. But beyond that certain extent, there's an awful lot of things that are not needed, not beneficial, and actually harmful to the country. So while I am not pro-states' rights, I generally vote for states' rights when the federal government makes moves to increase its own power at the expense of the states. Now, I've heard an awful lot of people pointing out the hypocrisy of their opponents. Democrats pointing out the hypocrisy of Republicans pointing out the hypocrisy of Democrats, because they're all for states' rights when it's convenient, and not when it's not. But as far as I am aware, no one has ever said this before. As far as I'm aware, I'm the first person who's saying this publicly. No one is for states' rights. Now, is that a bad thing? No. Because state governments also have government overreach. So it is entirely appropriate for people to be pro-states' rights when they feel that it is proper for a state government to have these powers and these rights, and it is entirely proper for people to be for the federal government to have rights and powers when they believe that these rights and powers are appropriate for the federal government to have. So, that's all I got to say. Thank you for watching. Please comment below with anything you have to say. I'd really like to know what you think about this. And that's all. Have a good night, and God bless.